This is Chicago area's most walkable suburb, most pedestrian suburb. Everything is dense all together, everything in a walkable distance, a lot of third places. And this right here, right behind me, or maybe you could say surrounding me, is probably a downtown of like the least walkable suburb in the Chicago area. The United States once had one of the most walkable cities in the world. Pretty much a 15-minute city before everything became a conspiracy for some reason. Even had one of the best public transit systems in the world as well. Getting anywhere, wherever you want, used to be super easy, but that all changed in the 1940s. Yeah, the suburbs used to be a place where simply just live, like near their work. It used to just be residential areas. I mean, it's still like that now, but today just takes it to like a whole new level. Nowadays, suburbs like pretty much sprawl out like a motherfucker. Like, it's to the point where your shop's in one place, your work's in one place, park's in one place. And like, in other words, it may be freedom, but on the other hand, it pretty much just forces you to drive. Other than like the convenience aspect, it's just also just not sustainable, really.
Okay, at the time it was a good move because American cities at the time, they were overcrowded. Perhaps they were like Mumbai, India. There's a difference between high density and overcrowded. That's the thing. And I feel like they could have done a better job of managing the overcrowdedness. I do find it okay spreading out, but we spread out way too much and way too long. And honestly, it's pretty much affected our economy over time. And we have to ask ourselves this: how long can we live like this? As I said earlier, at the time, it felt like the right move. America was a prosperous country after World War II, and this allowed Americans the opportunity to live a better life outside of the city. Bigger property, everyone gets their own car, everyone gets happy. Socialism, in a capitalist way. But as time went on, however, the demand for more housing increased, causing more sprawl. In short, this is basically like a Ponzi scheme, because this was unsustainable to begin with. It's gonna cost more to repair these places, but the more you sell, the more money you get. But eventually, it's all gonna go downhill as time passes on, because it just costs us too much money from the pipes, the road repairs. And I like the argument that conservatives make that cities are not green places. Here's the contrary. Look at this map of New York City, for example. The carbon footprint is a lot less, because in short, people aren't like gas-guzzling cars all over the place. I know there's other factors too, maybe actually AC especially, and how everything's just spread out in general. It just damages the environment more. But if you want to learn more, you can go ahead and watch Not Just Bike's video, how Suburbia is basically a Ponzi scheme, and how Suburbia has pretty much made us poorer. And you could watch Thomas's video here, a city skyline simulation. Yeah, I know it's a video game, but some video games have some sort of realism, right? And in short, car dependency is just not good for us, financially especially.
And the American suburbs, at least in general, they probably can't be saved, if I gotta be honest with you. Or at the very least, it's gonna be very, very difficult to save, because everything is so spread out. Everything's just parking lot, strict zoning laws, and trying to make everything dense right away in such a big piece of land is just hard, to say the least. What I really mean to say is that when you look at these big box stores, it's not really that flexible. Like, if one store leaves, who's gonna fill it in? No one's gonna fill it in unless it's like the same big company. And even if it's the same big company, they tend to tear down the building and then rebuild it again, which costs a lot of money. And meanwhile, in an urban area, stores are very compact to each other. They're small. And if one store leaves, one comes back in right away.
Here's a larger example with this when it comes to places with higher density are more flexible to change. Look at this shop on a local main street. Shops are close together, can be reached within a walkable distance. Most of all, it can generate so much more money on a single block. And if one store needs to leave, another one comes back in within a couple months or two. If not, maybe a few weeks. Now, when you look at big box stores in suburbs, it would take a lot longer to replace. Like when stores like Sears or Pudding Edge go out of business, it would take so much longer to replace. These stores are so big that it could only accommodate like one specific company, and that's it. And if a few more come in, well, they have to demolish it completely, even though it may not be unnecessary at times. And take another look here. This big box store here where I live, compared to the Magnificent Mile. Yes, the look may look a little bit different in the Mag Mile compared to several years ago. However, it still keeps the same footprint. And other than just commercially, this applies to residential areas again. Current zoning laws in pretty much the majority of suburbs just don't allow for land to be used for multiple uses. One area can be a commercial use, another office buildings, and then all residential areas would be put far away from their necessities for some reason, which makes no sense. In an urban area, a single family home can be, or like a few-story building could be rented out, fit 2 family groups. You could even make it mixed use, if anything. You can't make your own restaurant in Suburbia because due to zoning laws, and even if you want to, like, the design is just hostile for it. And even if zoning laws change, it would take so much work to make it more sustainable in the future. Yes, you can put apartment complexes over a parking lot, but what about the single-family areas? I have a feeling that it's a lot harder to make those areas more sustainable in such a short amount of time.
Alright, that's to say, are all suburbs unsavable? No, not even close. There's some that are actually savable. Matter of fact, there's some that are already good enough for sustainability. Realistically, I think not just bikes' hot take is a hot take. I think anywhere can become sustainable, but places that are like far off from the city center can tend to be a lot more work, to say the least. Like, it will take so much work. Like Jason's right, it might take generations, if not ever, to fix it. But yeah, think of the tank versus the car analogy. I know I'm stealing it from another particular YouTuber, but you have to make them as fuel efficient as possible, make them go as far as they can with using the least amount of fuel.
Think of Alan Fisher's video. I remember watching Alan Fisher's video. Think of it like the tank and the sedan. You will have to modify both of them to make them more as fuel efficient as possible. They're not fighters. They're not used to fight. Just make them as fuel efficient as possible, simply. To make it go as far using less fuel. It would be easier to make the sedan to go further while using less fuel, because the tank just weighs a lot more and it takes a lot more work to move something heavier. Most inner ring suburbs can be saved and have the potential to become sustainable in the future. And if not, they're pretty much already sustainable. Look at Evanston, for example, more specifically. Everything's close by. I noticed there's some single family home areas, but at least they kept walkability in mind. There are other suburbs that have a potential. Oak Park, Cicero, Elmwood Park, maybe Harvey and Riverdale. They're like the sedans, since they require fewer resources to go further. Although people in these suburbs probably already drive, and will mainly only drive, it's very easy to make these places sustainable for future use. Adding bike sharing, public transit, more public transit, making them more dense, etc.
And although I think that all inner ring suburbs are savable, the thing is though, do they really want to be saved? Look at Norwich and Harwood Heights, for example. I knew I'd throw a lot of shade towards this place with one of my previous videos, but honestly, otherwise it's actually not that bad otherwise. But what I'm saying is, do they really want to be saved? Because some inner ring suburbs may be like an SUV, or in other words, an oversized sedan. Because that's what SUVs are, right? Where I live has the potential to be sustainable in the near future. Maybe now, actually. The only thing to consider is, do they want to be saved? Because the fact that they didn't choose to have any scooter sharing service like Divvy, Lime, or Super Pedestrian, at the very least they should have Super Pedestrian, because that's only seasonal here. It could make the village a lot more money, is what I'm trying to say. And another thing is that they keep expanding their parking lots and adding a lot of big box stores that are pretty pointless and not even bothering the upzone in general. Kind of just questions if they really want to be saved or not. I mean, after all, this is we're going through the third mattress store in 5 years, I think, 5-6 years. But who knows, maybe they'll change their act one day.
Lastly, if you look at these places that lie at the edge of the metro areas, they're like a fighter tank. No matter how hard you try to make them sustainable, it will be very difficult at best to make them fuel efficient in the future. Or in this context, it would be a huge feat to make these places walkable while also using the current land being used, because it's going to be hard to increase population density while keeping the same land
Like, is it possible to revitalize commercial and office areas? Yes. But the residential areas, that may be a lot harder because those places were made for one purpose unless you rebuild them entirely.
Whether you like it or not, we have to get rid of everything that we build, especially the sprawling places that doesn't really generate enough money, because not only doesn't it generate as much money, it's just simply not environmentally stable as well. Basically, we have to reverse everything that's been done, like after 1940. I understand why we did it at first, but perhaps we took it to too large of a scale, to the point where it's pretty much damaged our economy. Like, don't get me wrong, it's not the only cause, of course, but it's definitely a huge factor that plays into it. Most suburbs in general that are like closer to city limits are a lot more savable. The question is, do they want to be saved or do they not want to be saved? If they're already sustainable to begin with, or they have potential. Other than that, I kind of feel for the ones that are bit further off of city limits, because that's going to be a lot harder to sustain in the future. In the next couple of decades, preferably soon actually, everything here has to be reversed so everyone can live a happier life. Or on the other hand, we could just keep doing what we're doing, keep subsidizing suburbia, and then wonder why we are in debt. One more time, I'm not saying this is the only cause, but I believe it's a big factor that plays in it. But yeah, if you like it, go like it, and if you dislike it, like it anyway. Hit the red button, follow the Twitter, and I'll see you. Peace.